welcome back to Bored to Death, the podcast where I strive to lose my monotone voice. To these guys, thanks so much for coming back. This week's episode has been delayed a little because the Rona got me. Today we've got 3 new guests. We've got Dave, Shaun and Ross. How are you guys?
Alright, I'm good, yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. It's nice to come on and hopefully talk shit about skating.
So, as always, we'll just get to know you guys just a little bit more. Dave, I'll start with you. How did you get into skating? Where did it start? Do you remember the first time you got a board?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got bought like a board when I was younger, but I kind of like, it was like a Monsters Inc. board that I used just to like, literally just sit on my arse and go down like my playground. But I probably got into it when I was in Spain because my mum's sister, Auntie, lives over there. And we went to this massive sports centre place. And yeah, I just kind of like picked out something that I wanted. And it was like a skateboard. It was like a brand called Oxelo, which is like the Spanish equivalent of Ken like Thrasher.
Okay.
Kind of like one of those boards. It's like, it'll do the job, but it's like more a beginner thing.
Yeah.
And I just took it back, and that's when, like, you know, we had our first indoor skate park open up in Edinburgh called Transgression. So
yeah.
I was just going there because apart from that, you know, we didn't really have anything. Like, if you want to go to a skate park, you'd have to go to like Livy or like Bristol Square, which, you know, at the time when I was 12, my mum wouldn't really let me go up there and all that. So I just kind of spent all the time skating by my high school. That was before I joined high school, and I kind of like, you know, I didn't have anyone to skate with, so I just forced my friends to get into it. And then some of them still skate actually, so from there just like kept doing it.
And was it just like consistent, like from school, like I don't know if you went to college or uni into your 20s, or did you have like gaps where you weren't doing it for a year, or just like, nah, can't be bothered?
Actually, yeah. So I went to college to do music and I started a band and we were doing pretty well. And at that point, yeah, I just was like picking up the instruments more and I was picking up the board. And then it got to the point eventually where it's like, I miss it so much. So I just kind of like started going to it again, like, you know, found a whole new love for it. To not sound cheesy.
Oh, no, I think it would be hard. We were just saying that in Starbucks there before we came up. I think for the people that have like can say they got into it at like 8, 9, whatever, and at like 25, like they're still doing it, I don't know if I believe them. like it doesn't mean your love for it like went away. It just like life kind of got in the way, and at that age, like you're meeting new people, you're going out drinking for the first time. Like I think it would be rare for someone to be like they did it as much every single weekend without like the interest dropping in it.
Yeah, it was also the fact as well, it's like, you know, because I'm from Edinburgh and like Edinburgh like council and all that, they just hate skaters. Like, so I don't know if you know the Bristol Square that we have, like that spot.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, they changed it up, they, you know, revamped it, which looked like such a nice spot. Then just put all the skate stops there, like everything around Edinburgh is like skate stopped, like, you know, it looks so perfect. Unlike Glasgow, you know. Yeah. Glasgow's like, you can walk around, it's like a fucking Tony Hawk game. Sorry, it's like a fucking Tony Hawk game where it's like, you just go around and everything's skateable from there. So that's why, like, when you asked me to come on that podcast, I'm like, fucking right, man. Like, you know, any experience to like come through to Glasgow. Yeah.
What about you, Shaun? Same question. When did it begin?
Basically, it started with Tony Hawk's Project 8.
Oh, that is cool.
I got Tony Hawk, like me and my brother, one Christmas. Just sat and bashed that in the PlayStation, and then I was like, man, I want to do this, and we both started to skate. And I remember my mum and dad got me a board at Argos. It was the McGill boards, and I was like, that was cool. I remember it was like covered in like graffiti shit, and I thought it was awesome, but realistically it was terrible. But we used them boards until they were just completely wood chips.
Yeah,
like. I mean, I still only learned to ollie on that. That was the most that I'd ever been into skateboarding in a long time. And then I got a video from one of my cousins that used to skate. It was one of the Logic skate videos. I remember watching that, and for the first time I was like seeing like these guys doing like any form of skating. I was like, man, that looks insane. I want to be able to do that. That was my first experience with skateboarding that wasn't like ollieing like 10 feet into the air and like grinding a bus or something like that. And it really made me want to like commit to learning how to like flip the board and stuff like that. And it was at that point where I had a little book. I got a how-to skateboard book that I tried to use to learn a kickflip. I didn't get it, but by the time that I actually was getting close, I ended up dropping away from skateboarding. because I started playing football. Well, not started playing football, I just kind of focused more on it. No, I got back into skating about 3 years ago. It has been the best thing I've done in a long time.
Good, that's good. It's cool it's so cool to hear as well that Tony Hawk's like Project 8, like, it's like how you got into it. Like, I was the same. Like, for me, it was, I mean, I'm older than you. It was like Proskater 2, like for the PS1. But it was just such a vibe, like, at that time, playing those games. I'm going to actually talk about Tony Hawk's Remaster later on. There was just something so cool about it. Like, I mean, I know, like, I actually watched this documentary not that long ago, and there was a couple of skateboarding games in the 80s when they knew they were doing Pro Skater. It was like they knew they were doing something different. Like, it was just so cool to have like a 3-dimensional game where like you weren't like linear. Do you know what I mean? Like, just skating into like a disappearing background. It was like, I mean, the graphics are terrible now, but
I mean, they're amazing at the time.
Oh yeah, compared to all the other games that are coming out as well. Because I think Rockstar came out with like a skateboarding game.
Yeah, the Thrasher.
That was it.
PS1.
For the PS1, yeah. Ross, what about you? Where does it start?
It started in Elgin in 2008 when I was 11. Basically, my mum and dad wanted to go out for an anniversary dinner, but I was only 11, so to get me out the house and so they could go for dinner without leaving me in the house, they went and got me a skateboard out at ESP and then dropped me off at the skate park. I was like, we'll pick you up in a few hours. And from that moment, I was like, I'm actually loving this, because the skate park was
just
empty.
Yourself.
And it was just built. And I don't know why it was empty on a Sunday night, but it was like just built after.
I would have absolutely shat myself of excitement, like, for sure.
Didn't sleep that night, and then the next day I was like just going to school, but I took my board with me everywhere I went from that moment on.
Yeah, and did it just like continue through your teens? Like, you just
all the way through my teens until now. Like, I'm still skating, I'm just working a lot more.
Yeah.
So whenever I get a chance, the board's in my van or the board's in the car, it just gets chucked anywhere that I'm going.
Did you play any of the Tony Hawk's games?
Played Tony Hawk Proskater 1, then I got a skateboard, then I started just skating. I didn't really play games, so I was like, I watch my pals play the games, but I'd rather be out just trying to do what the games are doing.
Yeah, I get, like, obviously Elgin's smaller than Glasgow or Edinburgh, so like, did you meet friends there through time? Like, I kind of feel bad, this image of you in the skate park in Elgin and yourself every day.
No, when I first started, I didn't really speak, but that was me, because my mum and dad are very religious. They're Jehovah's Witnesses, so it was like I had to live by certain rules and everything.
Yeah.
But I knew that I didn't want to follow that religion. I knew that from a young age, but I had to get out of the house to not then live that lifestyle.
Yeah, I get you.
So at 16, that's when it kind of opened up to me that, I can go anywhere in the world if I want to. I can always go skating, and I can always go up to someone and be like, where are you from? How long have you been skating? You want to try frontside air? Or just like get people to go, just connect with different people that aren't, I don't want to say narrow-minded, but just overly religious.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like they push religion onto you.
Yeah, no, good for you. I would be the same if I was in that position, 1000%. These questions that I thought were pretty good, I thought they were pretty random, you would get to know each other more, but some of the reactions I got to these questions last week, I was like, was I on drugs when I wrote these, and which drug was it, and can I get it again? Because
right, I'm ready for some unhinged questions.
I mean, they're actually not
my way, for sure.
They're not even that unhinged, but some of the faces I got, I was like right, so I'll just start with you, Dave. What is your favourite place to skate in Scotland? Anywhere?
Definitely not Edinburgh, because there's nowhere to skate in Edinburgh. We try. Favourite place, I'd probably just say my favourite spot is like Transport Museum through here in Glasgow. Like, I love that spot so much. It's like, because I remember I used to go there for the, like, they had like the game of skate competitions there. I think it was like, was it Tom Shimon that was putting them on or something?
Okay.
So I used to go through for that. And that was before they built all the stuff there, like the back.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why they built all the stuff there. I think it was maybe to try get people away from the front. So they just kind of like, there's a spot for you there, just use that. So that is definitely my favourite place to skate. And just everywhere in Glasgow, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty iconic, I think, within the community, the Transport Museum. Shaun, what is your favourite album of all time? And there's no judging, as I said last week to this question, there's no judging, so please do hit out with Brittany.
I mean, I would love to.
It's Brittany.
But that's such a tough question on the spot. It would have to be an album called Anymore by Gleamer, which
Fair enough. It's yours.
Very small and probably very arse to say on a podcast about. Yeah, you've probably never heard of them before, but as a band that I found a couple of years back, and first listen to that album, I was immediately hooked. It was fucking insane. It's so good, honestly.
No, that's fine.
I'd recommend it to anyone. I
will
don't care what you're into.
the Spotify link in the description for us. Ross, what is your personal favourite fast food restaurant?
Dr. Noodles.
Okay.
Dr. Noodles.
Is this like a one-off? Am I being stupid? Is this a franchise? Is it like a one-off?
I don't know if it's franchise. I only knew about it in Stirling when I went on a night out.
No, I've been to one in Newcastle before. Actually.
Cool.
I've never heard of
it.
the franchise.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing, man.
No, I love...
Sure.
The reason I put this question is I love fast food. Like, it's like, I need to try everything at new fast food restaurants. So that is like exactly what I wanted to hear.
It's almost like you can pick and mix and match whatever noodles and whatever veg and whatever meat you want. You can be like, any sauce. That was like key for a night out.
Oh no, it sounds so good. And I'm going to sound really stupid if there's one in Glasgow and I've never known about it now.
When I get pissed, the main place that I go is to either KFC or Bistro. So
Bistro.
I can't.
It's such a staple.
Nah, mate, it's got to be Taco Bell for sure.
Yes, thank
Taco
you.
Bell is good.
We just opened one up in Edinburgh, but like every time I came from to Glasgow, it was like before leaving, I was insisting. It was like no one, like to all my pals, like no one can leave until we get a Taco Bell.
Yeah, I said that to one of the guys last week, Stuart. He was from Edinburgh, and I said, "Please tell me you've got one in there." Dave, what's your drink of choice? And by that, I mean like your staple drink. Like if you can't be fucked, thinking of something else to order, like what's a drink where you're like, that's my...
I usually just go for like a can of Red Stripe or something like that.
Okay.
It depends what I'm feeling. It's like either Red Stripe or just like, you know, the most minging tasting cider. Like, I don't know, like from growing up to like, you know, if I was too skint that I was going to a gaff party or something, like I would just spend like, back when like 2 litre bottles of cider were £2, I just forced myself to learn to enjoy that. And now I've literally got the most basic taste of drinks ever. But yeah, it's just like cheap cider or Red Stripe for sure. Or a Bucky Bomb if they've got, but yeah.
Shaun, what's your favourite country you've ever been to, like personally?
Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
Anywhere in specific?
Rome. Me and my brother went to Rome, and holy shit.
Like
a beautiful place, man.
I'm not just saying that's my favourite place in the world I've ever been as well.
Yeah.
Like specifically Rome.
Between like the food, the like all of the mad ancient
the
ruins,
architecture's just like nuts, like
beautiful place, man.
Cool. No,
Also, apparently it's good to skate in. I seen they built a skate park that's like basically overlooking the Colosseum.
Really?
I think I remember seeing that. Like,
I'm gonna check it out.
I can't remember what it was for. I think it was a qualifier for something. I remember like seeing Mark Suchi put up a couple of clips. I'd need to find that.
No,
but
I'm
I
gonna
remember
definitely have a
that.
look, and I'll link it as well. Ross, what is the best gig you've ever been to?
Waitress. Teenage Dirtbag.
Nice.
Only went to go see that one song. And I was like 15 and I was in Ironworks in Inverness. And I went with my brother and his pal, and they were like 6-7 years older than me. So they were in their 20s and I'm this 14-year-old guy and they're all polluted. And we're all just stood waiting for the last song, which was Teenage Dirtbag.
That's so cool. I love that. Dave, back to you. What's the ultimate hangover cure?
Just get back on it.
That's what someone, Mary Jane said that last week. I was like, I'm asking these questions for advice. Like, I know that just will not work for me. Like, I need something.
I mean, like, I don't do it like all the time. Like, sometimes I don't really get hangovers. I'll just like be sleep deprived, so it will just be like a Lucasade. But if I wake up with a pounding headache, I'm just like, right, fucking, let's go back to the pub. Let's get some cans. I just see through this day.
Last 2 questions I'm going to open up to everyone. Who's your favourite skater, or who are you into at the moment?
Clive Dixon, for sure.
Just at the moment, or period?
Like, I mean, there's different skaters like I look out for. I'm like, I can like obsess with watching the videos, but overall it's like Clive Dixon for sure. Like, I don't know, I just stumbled across one of his videos, and then like recently, like he's been putting out part after part on like Thrasher and all that. He's doing all these mad MEDs. I think he was the last one to ever like properly get a clip at what's this spot called, El Toro. So he did like an ollie nose blunt down the handrail, and he went back the next day because he was like, nah, fuck that, do it like a nollie nose blunt down the handrail. And it's just the shit he does. I'm just like unthinkable. Like, you know, he looks at a spot with the most unique way. Being like, right, no one's tried this, or no one would think to skate something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely mine for sure.
Cool.
Grayson Fletcher is for me. That's like the guy I've been just watching religiously over the last like 6 months. It's just the way he skates just looks like he's surfing concrete like it's water. It's unreal.
I'd gotta say it's Mark Sitcher. Between Mark Sitcher and Tom Knox, but like that kind of aspect of the fast feet tech skating is so cool to watch, man. The trick selection is mostly like the kind of a little bit more awkward tricks that really just it's just so impressive to me, man. It makes them look good, and it's what I aspire to, man. I could nothing like.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I think that's what it's about. Looking at something, being like, one, like that's so cool that they're doing that, but two, like I really wish I could fucking do that. This last question, this is the one that like tipped me over the edge last week. So I was told to rephrase it last week. So out of these 2 seasons, which one is best to skate outdoors, spring or autumn?
Spring.
That's a good question. Spring for sure.
Because in autumn, you've got all these dead leaves all gathered up in the
Yeah.
bowl,
And
at
it's
the corner
also
of your
cold.
ledge.
That's where I was coming from asking this question. But the guys last week, like, they were like, "What do you mean spring or autumn?" Like, I would just rather skate all year round. And I'm like, oh, I've really fucked up this question. It's like stupid now.
It's like in autumn though, it's like the decline of knowing that it's just going to get colder and colder. Like you said, the
Yeah.
leaves as well. With spring, it's slowly getting hotter and hotter. You're slowly
Yeah.
adjusting to the hot heat and all that. So,
The lighter nights are growing, so you're like, I can stay an extra half an hour this week because it's
Yeah. And as
Sunset
you
doesn't
said,
set.
it just gets more and more each week. Like the days get longer and the weather gets better.
the tricks get better.
Oh yeah.
The parties get heavier.
Overall, the vibe just gets better. I think
Yeah.
that's where I was coming from with that question. So as always, each week we have a word, and we're going to discuss that word this week. It was so important to do an episode with that word because it's why I'm here doing this. It's why I've met you guys. But we are all sick to the back teeth of hearing the word. So this week's word is pandemic.
Got like PTSD just thinking about it.
Did you guys skate more during the original lockdown?
Yeah.
More than like January and February 2020? Like when lockdown hit, like the OG lockdown, did you skate more or did you actually lose a bit of interest in skating?
Scared more.
Yeah, no, me too.
Way more. Those didn't have work because you're on furlough, so that saves 40 hours a week. That's 40 hours a week more on skating. That really my eyes. Like.
I mean, nothing really much changed for me because at the time I was working, doing retail job at Holland and Barrett, and we were essential, so apparently, so we were staying open. But yeah, no, like when everyone was like sort of staying inside and we had our like 1 hour of exercise, I would just go to like my old high school and just skate the basketball court. Like, so I did it way more for sure.
Yeah. Scared like a lot of flat ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was the only thing to skate.
Oh
Like,
yeah, for sure, man. Unless you live right next to a skate park, but like just try like master all the day one song tricks and that.
It's like kickflip manuals on flat
Oh
and shit
yeah,
like that.
that'd take about 5 pandemics to master that.
Did you miss indoor parks at all? Like were they missed?
Yeah.
Really?
Falling on concrete hurts a lot more than wood.
Yeah.
Wood's very forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
You can slide along concrete.
So do you think like you became maybe a little bit less confident in doing things because you knew the fall was like physically going to be harder? Or did it actually improve your confidence?
It improved it a bit. It's just more that I wanted a wooden ramp so I could, at least if I knew I was going to wing it and cunt it, it wasn't going to hurt as much. Like.
I think I felt safer, like, after falling on concrete so much, I felt safer from, like, falling on wood. Like, I feel like I was actually maybe trying harder at, like, tranny tricks, like, just skating indoor wooden skate parks, for sure.
Yeah. Indoor parks, like, when they were shut, I feel like trying to skate somewhere that was dry, like, because in, like, the January and February, like, the weather wasn't great. I remember I was trying to find somewhere dry that became really hard all of a sudden, because I think I tried at least every indoor car park about town, and you still got kicked out of all of them. There wasn't anywhere you could just be like, if it rains just now, you can be like, fuck it, I'll go to Loading Bay or Transgression or whatever.
But you couldn't then.
You can't at that point, and you're like, right, I need to go find
A sheltered spot somewhere that is skatable, and I'm not going to get kicked out within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So nowhere then, pretty much.
Did you like get into anything like I know like for me like I had just got back into it during the pandemic and I ended up ordering like a lot of back issues of Thrasher just to like sit and like it was getting when the weather was really bad and just sit and read, and then like I would do just like old like toy machine videos. Like I would like pick like a certain year, like maybe like 97, and then just like sit up one night and watch like
That was like the retro Bammage era.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
that, man, yeah.
That's as well where I just get really into like obviously I knew who Brian Anderson was, but like that's where like I get obsessed with him, and like it was just kind of like a kettle of like skating for me. Like that's really 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 without physically skating, like during that lockdown, just like new YouTube video, then I was reading it in a magazine, then I was listening to a podcast, and I was just like
Immerse yourself in
like
it,
totally
yeah.
like lost myself in it, and I guess that's like why we're here today. Did you guys do the same with any media? Like
Sheer masturbation for sure, man. Nah, pretty much the same, man. Like old skate videos, rediscovered a lot of nostalgia music as well. Like I heavy got back into like, you know, I'm a massive punk music fan, but I heavy got back into like pop punk and all that nostalgia shit from like the 2000s for sure.
and that is happening right now. Like that boomed like severely during 2020. Do you know, like as you were saying that, like pop punk, like so that song came out in May 2020, so during the first lockdown was Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh man, yeah.
That bloody Valentine song, I was like, I heard it and I was like, what the fuck?
I heard that on Tony Hawk, the remaster. I was like, oh shit, this song's great. And then I was like, Machine Gun Kelly?
I was obsessed with that song to the point where like when I heard it on shuffle for the first time, I was like, that sounds like it's from Proskater 2. And I was like, is this an old one? And then like going onto the Spotify page and been like released, like I think it said like May 3rd 2020, I was like, what? I was like, is this a cover? Because it just sounded too much like, I don't know, like a Blank song like in 2003 or 4. It was just like so like, oh my god. And then obviously over the last year, like I don't know, you've got like Machine Gun Kelly, Modson, Jaden, Avro, like this pop punk thing
Like
is coming
Willow
back.
as well for sure, like Willow Smith.
Yeah.
And there was that Olivia Rodrigo song I was obsessed with. It was like Good For You. I was like, why do I love this song so much?
Because it's misery business.
yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
To be honest, though, it fucking slaps, man.
It does, man. For sure, I'd be like, you know, post breakup in my shower, just fucking belting it out.
But as I said, I was already in this like whole kettle of skate, and then I think it maybe had been announced, but like maybe the promo got big for it in the summer was the Tony Hawk's remaster, and then when that came out, I was like, oh my god, like I was playing it every single day, and they'd kept like all the old classic skateboard soundtrack in it, but they added like all the
New
newer
shit,
ones, and I was
yeah.
like, this is a vibe, man. Like this is a vibe, the whole thing. It was just, and then after being obsessed with that Machine Gun Kelly song, it appeared in the game. I was just like, oh, this is just so cool. I mean, we've all said like we played those games. Do you not think it was such a feeling though to play that game in like today's graphics?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just like, oh my god.
I'll tell you what though, it's like playing that compared to playing, I don't know if you remember, it was like 2015 or something, like Tony Hawk's Proskater HD came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That game fucking sucked, man.
Yeah.
Like,
It was the same as when he did
What, Pro Skater 5?
5, yeah,
Yeah.
that was bad.
I was
yeah.
unfortunate enough to like, oh shit, a new Tony Hawk game. I'm definitely buying that. So I paid, I think, like 40 something pound
Yeah.
for that. It was awful.
Yeah, it was really
Oh, yeah.
bad. It was what they done with the remaster was exactly
It was
what needed
perfect.
to be done. Yeah,
it's when they like changed developers, because I remember the last game to be made by Neversoft was like it was like Proving Grounds, I think,
Yeah.
and like
yeah.
that game was like, it was all right. I remember having played that back in the day, but then like, yeah, I think the next game after that was like Tony Hawk's Ride, and like I don't know if you had that. It was the one that you had the skateboard controller.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Because you
like
had
the
Shred as
physical-
well. On
Yeah.
The Wii.
Yeah, the board, like
They had the wee sensors all around it. So
Yeah.
if you were
Yeah.
to grab, you just had to place your hand over a sensor.
I
instead
mean,
of
it
grabbing
is
the
a cool
board.
concept, but I just think maybe at that time the technology, like that, maybe we'll like revisit
Yeah.
that in like 10, 20 years. I mean, who knows? Like it's coming on really fast now, but at that time it just
I think everywhere was going for like a realistic thing. Because like when did Skate come out? Was that not like 2000 and...
I think it was 2007.
Yeah, with the
Yeah, that'd be the same
that,
year
yeah.
as Proving Ground. Because I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
Proving Ground had a realistic setting.
Yeah, like
And
You zoomed in and you can like control what foot did what and what foot like the
Yeah.
other
Put
foot,
it into
and, like,
slow mo.
Yeah, and it like flicked the board any way you want. That was actually really cool.
yeah, like
those games are just such like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like a whole vibe. Like they kind of followed like what was going on within skate, or influenced it at least at that time for people our age. I think it was Underground 2, and it was BAM. Like
Yeah.
BAM was in the game.
was
Like,
like-
yeah,
was in the game.
It was
like
very
a-
MTV.
Oh,
like,
very like Jackass
Yeah.
Viva La Bam kind of thing,
Yeah.
for sure.
Speaking of that, that is another thing that I, Viva La Bam, bought during lockdown off like Music Magpie or something, the whole box set, like start to finish, like every single episode. And I honestly like was upstairs in my little TV room just howling at it. I was like, I can't believe I've left this so long, like to watch it again as an adult. Like that was just like still like, don't get me wrong, some of the comments and the language is aged like milk, but the actual show is just so funny, and April will always be my hero.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it got so bad at one point I was looking everywhere to get an April t-shirt. Like I was like,
Did you?
no. I mean there's always Redbubble. Like you
Oh,
just
yeah,
like upload the picture and like pay
Oh, yeah.
£35 for it, but no.
Now you want that like proper authentic April March
merch,
era.
absolutely.
April March merch for sure.
Did you think overall within skating there was a boom during the lockdown?
100%.
Yeah, nah, absolutely for sure.
Like the people that would like they would have bullied me in school for skating are now skating. You know, I feel like that's when you know it's big. But I think it's because of like skating brands. No, they're almost fashionable. Like you think about like Thrasher, Carhartt. I know Supreme.
It's like you always challenge that person in the street. It's like if you're wearing a Thrasher top, you skate.
Do it, kid.
It's always the shoes. Man. You look at the shoes, you're like, wee bit scuffed. Man.
Yeah, that's me. Always like every time I see like someone wearing a pair of like SBs or like Cons or Lakais, even some of the skate on brands, I'm just looking. I'm like, right, where's that fucking Ollie mark? Where's
Yeah.
that foot mark? Fucking posing.
Judges. Fuck, I've got my girlfriend in here actually. She's like, oh man, someone in my train today wearing like brand new shoes, shiny ass trucks, and I'm like, she was like, bit of a poser, right? And I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
you know, idea.
It definitely has like, I don't even know how to describe it. I'll just tell you the story. Like what happened was there was some video on TikTok, and I'm recently new to TikTok. I was against it for so long. And I'm like,
Same, but now I'm like
enjoy it.
addicted to it.
It's like Vine. It's the new Vine.
But there was this I honestly forget. I think it was, I'm not actually, do you know what it was? It was somebody was talking shit about Avril Lavigne, and I was going to tell them that they're not going to talk about her like that. Like it's
I actually just
unacceptable.
noticed like before, like you had like a sort of Avril Lavigne background there or something like that.
on my phone.
Yeah. I just saw a quick glimpse of that, and I was like, oh, sweet, you know, mate, me
Love
too,
it.
man.
But and like I was respectful. I never swore or anything. I was just like, oh, you know, like whatever. And then I'll take it. It was a girl, and she came back in the comment, and in my profile picture, I'm wearing this hoodie. It's a Thrasher hoodie, and she was like, "Mate, you're wearing a Thrasher hoodie." I was like, "What?" So like for you guys, like Thrasher's out now. Like you can't wear Thrasher. I was like,
Thrasher is not longer core skating. Only Avril Lavigne is core skating. That's the way it should be.
I am a skater boy.
Yes.
I was just like, right. So like, all of you, what are they called? What's that group called? The one before millennials. I think you guys are them.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Right, I get confused with them and Gen X. So just because Gen Z are like done with the Thrasher thing now, it's not cool to wear a Thrasher hoodie anymore. Like everyone's to stop wearing them. I'm like, that was an institution before you got into it, and it'll be an institution
Well, like good.
for a lifetime after. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like, wait, Gen Z, that's like how old do you have to be Gen Z? Because like, I'm confused. I'm like,
96, I think it ends. So I think like if you're born like after 96, it's Gen Z.
oh fuck, I'm Gen Z, man.
Yep. Same.
Are you?
I'm 97.
I'm a millennial. I like being a millennial though. I really like being a millennial. Don't know why, but I like it.
I feel like as being Gen Z is who people hate most. You know, I think, especially like the
Oh, you sound like-
boomers on social media.
I mean, they're something else. Yeah.
It's really funny. Gen Z woke
We're just
culture,
so
and you're like,
sensitive nowadays, man. That's just
yeah, it's like just one like black people and trans people and gay people and women to have like their rights is like sensitive. You know? It's like, yeah, sure, man, whatever. Right.
It's definitely like when we're saying like there was a boom during the pandemic within skating. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like we were just saying there before we come in, like the people that you were now seeing skating, like it was different races, different sexualities, different genders. Like we spoke about this last week. It's just a sport that like is like, in my opinion, no other. Like the example I used earlier on was like football. Like usually, and I'm not generalizing here, straight white men. But like if you go skateboarding, like there's just so many different types of people, and people feel more comfortable being able to skate.
Yeah, I think it's because skating it's kind of it's more than a sport. Like I feel like
It's almost its own culture.
Yeah,
in a sense. 'Cause
like a sport like football doesn't have the same thing as like skating. Like you can be like a Rangers fan meeting a Rangers fan and stuff like that. But that's where like any connections will stop. You know.
yeah.
If you meet someone that skates, it's like there's usually a bit more than that. You know.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not like I'm going to turn up here with like, say, I don't know, a chocolate deck, and someone's going to have a fucking anti-hero deck, and we're like, nah,
Kinda
fuck
like
you,
beef
we're
over it,
enemies now, man. Like,
Yeah, that is true. as
don't
well.
cross my path again.
it's like it'll be like Green Street, but the skate house.
Wheels getting chucked across the park.
Not even stuff like that. Like you could never imagine anything like that happening.
No.
Nah,
Like you do get like the fucking
The odd
Like-
skate park fight, but there's normally more to it than they're just fighting.
Yeah.
sometimes
Always
you
a
do get the kind
backstory.
of Chad jock skater. Like you know when someone knows they're good at skating, but they just
like total Niger vibes, kind of, yeah.
exactly yeah. Like
End up getting arrested for just bumping into a car. Like,
I mean, that was another thing, like during the pandemic and like being able to skate outside, like was when you were skating in like places you, inverted commas here, shouldn't be, was the police presence like non-existent. And you know, like there's an attitude from boomers, and I forget the one before the boomers, but like our parents' generation, like towards skating, like, oh, like get off the street. I mean, it's not like as direct as that, but they've got an attitude about it. Like with those people off the streets during the pandemic, like surely that was better for everyone.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't understand it at all, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a generational thing. Like, even before I got back into skating, like, if I'd seen a skater in the street, it would have been like, oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Or I wouldn't have thought anything, but there definitely is, like, I don't even know the word for it, man. Like, an attitude towards it.
I feel like they have like some weird stereotype of skaters. It's like, oh, these guys are probably like uneducated, gonna smash your windows kind of thing.
Smash your windows, smoke all your weed, you know.
Like
drink all your
ruin
booze.
your fucking curbs and shit.
It's like I'm skating this curb just to ruin it. I'm not actually skating it just to like progress at all.
Yeah, you'd always have that. But even if you're like skating, like as I was saying, lockdown when you're just skating flat ground, it's basically just kind of wasteland, like and like where I lived. And then like, I was just like skating over the top of it, and there was that guy like walking his dog that went by, and he was like, "Yeah, you're wasting the ground." I was like,
Oh.
I was like, "There's literally nothing built here." Like,
Fuck you, old man. I'm gonna fuck this ground up. There's nothing you can do about it.
no, man, it's very weird. Like,
I'm still a bit shook over that. Like, that's
like
one of
I
the
don't
best
know
things
how
I've
much
heard.
damage do you think it causes? It's a plank of wood, man.
I mean, that same thing happened to me, like right at the start of the pandemic. Like, you know, there was just like, okay, so there was a church, but I wasn't skating the church. There was like steps like near the church. And it was literally, I was just, you know, maybe like, I don't know, like 4 feet high. I was just trying to, not 4 feet, no, like 2 feet. And I was just trying to like practice little ledge tricks. So I was like, not skating ledges for a while. And this guy came out, it's like, I know you're a kid, but people like you just fucking up our whole city, man. I'm like, I'm just skating a curb, man. And I'm not a kid, I'm fucking 24.
That's a nice thing, though. People just assume you're a lot younger than
Oh
they
yeah,
are.
no, I took that as a compliment, but I was like, fuck you, man. You're nasty. That's not the
Yeah.
energy we need.
Yeah, no, that I don't even know what to say about that one.
Yeah.
I'm still not over the wasting ground thing.
Oh no, that's
And now you're
fucking-
fucking up the city. So
Yeah, no.
I know, man.
it's doomed from the start. Like the minute you walk out the door with that deck, you're doomed.
I mean, I thought my story was, but at least I'm not fucking up the ground like some people here, man.
I mean, some of us are just built different, man.
Do you guys have any like good memories of skating in the pandemic? Like something like, or maybe not. I'll rephrase that question. Like, what did you take away from the pandemic with skating?
A lot more pals, for sure. Like, I noticed a lot more people were coming to Bristol Square, like when they started easing the things off. Like, and yeah, no, it was great. Like, you know, it's like our friend group of like 10 grew like massively. Like,
That's,
you know,
and like
it's
you're still
huge.
like cool today with them.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that's like that point because there was nothing to do. We're all together, but then they've kind of like congregated in their own little groups. But it's not like, you know, a territorial thing. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, they've made their own friend groups, so we still see each other every now and then, and we still get along and all that. You know, we would go to a, you know, similar common event or something. It's good.
Honestly, I just need to agree with yourself, man. I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
so much more people are like, into skating now. So like, it's like you can like turn up to the skate park most time. And there's going to be someone that you can like
Oh yeah, man.
know and like talk to, man. It's just fucking insane.
It's
I
like
mean,
you don't even need to hit anyone up. You're just
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna go there and just see who's about. And then,
Yeah.
you make a whole day of it for sure.
yeah, it's great.
And like you were saying before, it's like, you know, there's more like, you know, different types of people at skate. You know, we've got like, you know, the girl, the trans community, like the LGBT community, like they're heavy getting on board with it now. And that's probably thanks, you know, pages like Skatebirds or Skateboobs
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
have been doing that. And now it's just like, you know, back in the day, it was such a weird thing. Like maybe 2012 or something, you see a girl rock up to the skate park, like, what the fuck? And not in a bad way, it's just like
I get what you
unusual.
mean. It's
Yeah.
just so weird that was like even a thing, isn't it?
And now it's just like the
Yeah.
most normal thing on the planet, which is
You've got
like,
girls like Sky Brown who win Olympic medals.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because was it skateboarding only came into Olympics just recently?
yeah.
yeah.
Just after the pandemic.
I mean, like even for girls, like there has been like pro skater girls for like a very long time. Like
Elisa.
Well,
Steele.
Elisa
Steele, I was just
Steele,
about to
yeah,
say
yeah.
it. But still, like even with role models like her in the 2000s and then going into the 2010s, I just still feel like maybe girls weren't taken as seriously as guys.
Yeah, the full fact that women not being taken seriously as guys is a whole other issue in general. But the fact that it's becoming like more a normalized thing in skating for like any like minority of people that feel more comfortable in it is a truly special thing, you know?
Absolutely, for sure.
So we're at this point in the show as well. What we are doing is we're asking every single one of our guests to pick one song. This song is completely and utterly your choice, and it's going to be added to the Bored to Death Song of the Day playlist available on Spotify. So yeah, we just kind of come up with this, and what's going to happen is it's going to be like a massive collection of like every guest that's ever been on this entire season is going to pick a song. You're probably from what got added last week, press shuffle, and you're just going to go to like loads of different places. So I'll just go round. What's your song of the day?
Oh, that's easy. Car Crash by Idols. Saw them like a few weeks ago. It was the fucking best gig I've ever been to in my life, man. So Car Crash, Idols. Listen to that for sure.
Fair enough. What I've been listening to a lot is a song called Charlie by Oso Oso. I'd recommend that. Great song.
Has to be Atlas by Bicep.
Cool. For me, I'm going to pick Machine Gun Kelly, Bloody Valentine, for the
Solid
obvious
choice.
reasons for this episode. So what have you guys got for the rest of the year? Are you going anywhere? Any plans with skating?
The Ramp Champs next weekend.
Indeed.
That'll
Are you
be
going as well to that?
I didn't know that was a thing though. So whereabouts that?
Loading Bay.
Loading Bay.
Fuck
A
yeah,
week, a
I'm
week
there.
today.
Next weekend.
It's on a weekend, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
next
can make that
Saturday.
for
I
sure,
think it's
yeah.
going to be big. Like anyone that I've spoke to on Instagram's asked me if I'm going or if they're going. Like
Yeah.
everyone seems to be posting it, so I'm just going for the vibes. 100% seems to be pure positive vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll bring the Leaf crew through for that as well.
Yeah.
Any,
Represent Edinburgh, man.
Exactly, man.
any projects anyone wants to plug? Are you still in your band?
Nah. We quit we broke up like a few years ago, and then it was like I started my new band in March 2020, and you know how that went. So
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't know what to plug. Follow Leaf Skate Co on Instagram. That's like the collective, me and my friends from Leaf and Edinburgh. We just post clips every now and then, just representing whatever the fuck we do. So yeah.
Fair enough, man.
And if you're ever in doubt, go on my skate app, type in where your location, and it'll tell you whatever skate park's within 10 miles of your location.
Cool. I never knew
Same,
that.
same with spots as well. You take a photo of a spot and you can add it, and it'll just take your location there and then, and it saves it and lets everyone else know in the UK.
That's sick.
Yeah, I never knew about that.
What's it called? My Skate app.
The My Skate app. That, and you can got skate dice on it as well. So you've got bowl, park,
yes.
street, some rails, ledges, so you can like put all your friends' names in and then shuffle, and then it tells you who's going first to set and everything.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out as soon as I
Yeah.
leave.
Oh, man,
That
me
sounds
too,
so cool. Well, thank you guys for agreeing to do this. You know, let's just meet a stranger and like appear on a podcast, and that's a bit weird for some people. But thanks for coming in.
I've had a great time, man.
Yeah, it's been class.
And hopefully we'll see you guys later on in the season, or maybe if there's another one, we'll see you then. But next weekend, maybe see you again at the Loading Bay for the Scottish Open.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, guys, that's us over and out. Tune in next week for another episode of Bored to Death.